Last time on The Lion and His Mane.
There was a guy who used to go around with a big cape and a bucket, and you'd pay him like a little bit of change so you could put in his bucket.
From 1965 to 1985, completely banned rock music. To the point where if you had long hair like yourself,
Yeah.
you would have been beaten by cops, had your head shaved, thrown in jail. Wikipedia page for a turbocharger car part. And I changed the word to drongo charger, hit the button, and then we reload the page, and dear Lord, there's a drongo charger. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to ramble! Kia ora, and welcome to episode Iwa of the Leo the Lion, Slain the Mane. And actually, it's the birthday special. Happy birthday, Mr. Lion.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Another revolution around the sun, my boy.
Another revolution. And yet not enough revolutions.
What have you been doing to celebrate the birthday? Not washing, as we just discussed.
No, I haven't done any washing. I really should have. You got to prepare this stuff, expect maybe you go out that night or something. When you're 37, which I am now, 37 revolutions.
Damn.
Birthdays aren't much of a thing. But then when you get a birthday on a Friday, you feel that you have to do something.
It's a sign from the beer gods. You've come around me 37 times. Have this one on me. It's a Friday.
We'll definitely have a few beersies. But, I mean, again, broke student life. You can't do all the big fancy stuff. If anything, I would just be leaning heavily on friends to drink their alcohol and then get away with it.
Absolutely. Speaking of cheap booze and being a poor student, I've started getting a discount at my local liquor store.
What? How much? What kind of what? How much?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I got 4 drinks last night. So I got one for Steph. It was about $3 or $4. She likes the cider they sell down there, so I grabbed her one, banged it in the fridge.
Nice.
And I get myself 3 beers. They're just poverty-ridden beers, $2 or $3 each or whatever. But the whole lot came to $10.96.
Okay.
So something in there. Yeah.
Why are they giving you a discount?
Oh, I talked to them and smiled sweetly.
That'll do it.
There was a hobo causing problems, and I was like, hey, what are you doing, mate? And after that, they're like, here's a defender.
A defender. I like that.
Yeah, man.
There'd be certain bars where I'd get discounts. Funny thing is like, when you become a regular, you start kind of getting discounts here and there. So I became a regular at a place that was called Saving Ferris, but I was getting it before it was called Saving Ferris.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Did they used to have like games and stuff in there? Like arcadey games?
So it was a normal bar, and then the owner decided we're going to make it a gaming bar because he likes games in the 80s and stuff like that.
I like
so
that.
It was supposed to be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Saving Ferris, right?
Right. We went to one very similar in Brisbane. And yeah, man, they just had like a collection of like 100 old games. You just go through and choose them.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got absolutely, I was pretty stoned by this point. And I got absolutely dicked in Street Fighter.
He had, I mean, it's cool, but it's also not. Like, yeah, he had Street Fighter. That was primo. So he had like Street Fighter Alpha 3 and some of my favorite jams. Also, the pool table stayed there. A lot of pinball machines. But what happened is there became a lack of seats out in the pub. Because his concept was basically you buy a beer, right? And then you leave the bar where you spend your money and you go spend your money.
Yeah.
You don't sit down, you game, or you buy beer. And so you're constantly spending money. And it's supposed to be like this genius idea. But the truth is, when you have a beer, you want to sit down.
You do.
Maybe you pop over and have a game or not, but you want to still chill and be in a bar and socialize.
100%.
He did have giant Jenga, which is hilariously dodgy. Especially with drinks.
I've always thought a good concept for Jenga would be to write on like the underneath of every block, like drink one beer, nominate to the right.
No, but what if they all fall down? Oh, so you take one out and you read the bottom.
And you read the bottom and be like, oh, nominate. All right. On your gym, drink that.
But is it only successful when you put it on top? If it topples, you have to do what's on the block. Or what's on the top 3 blocks.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of those. But I think that
would
like
be
right. If you pull it out and read it, and then you cock that up, you have to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if you knock the tower over, you skull your vessel.
Skull your vessel, yeah.
Or either that, or you'd have a few, and you know the old gumboot card? We used to call it gumboot.
No.
There's like a vessel in the middle, and everyone just tips some of their booze
Oh, yeah, we call it the King Cup.
Oh, right, yeah, or vessel or gumboot, yeah.
But you played Circle of Death, right? You spread all the cards around a big circle around a big jug in the middle, and that's the King Cup. It's the big jug in the middle. If you pull a king, you have to fill like a quarter of the jug, or you have to pour your drink into the King Cup. And then the 4th king that gets picked up has to drink the King Cup. And that's usually the end of the game, I think. Man, I had a New Year's once where me and my friend went shares, because, we're youngins. We didn't have that much money, kind of like now.
Shares in a bottle of Magic, about it.
Shares in a 3rd batch bottle of Woodford Reserve whiskey, or bourbon, I think. It was...
You've
good,
painted
smoky
it sounds
drop.
good.
Yeah, and it was, it was 3rd batch, so it was only, out of those barrels that have been kept for so long. We put some money in it. We went halvesies on it. Little did I know, he started using it in Circle of Death. And so this King Cup had a lot of very expensive bourbon in it.
I see where that's going. That's a shame, because you should be pouring cheap in there. It shouldn't be a treat to drink.
Yeah.
It should be a punishment.
And there was some cheap beer in there. And then the worst is some busted put their Baileys or their Kahlua in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it curdled. And so my mate had to scull it, right? And he was like, this is another one of my mates, not the guy who was going halvesies in the bottle. I think he'd cacked in the tub by this point.
So it's entirely your bottle at this point.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, Leo, can you help me scull this? And I go, yeah, all right, mate, because I'm looking at this chunky, look like cottage cheese on top,
Yeah.
So I start sculling it back to give him a hand. I said, I'll do half of it. And what I actually did was that I filtered out all of the bottom layer.
Did you put your tongue in it?
I drank all the liquid.
Yeah.
All the boozy liquid
and you
at the
left all
bottom.
the Baileys in for
and
him.
all the chunkies. And then I watched him drink it, and he had to, instead of, and it was a lot of that. It's because you can't drink it. You have to go,
Oh.
You have to kind of chew it down. And I watched him do that, and I was just like, shame. That's what you get for trying to half the King Cup with someone.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for those King Cups, man. They are dangerous.
Well, a similar thing, I wanted a beer bong. Now, we all know the classic Kiwi beer bong, the red Bunnings funnel at the top with the clear hose running down, right?
Yeah,
Just your standard thing, not a flash on with a tap or a double
Oh,
banger
mate,
or
I
any of
used
that.
to make them even cheaper than that and more efficiently.
Oh, I bet you did.
Yeah.
I once just drank out of a road cone.
Well,
I picked up a road cone and said, boys, dip your beers in it.
the one I do, this is actually a little fancier than you have to go. Any bottle, really. But if you get your, you remember the H2Go bottles, blue pump on the top?
Yeah.
So use your teeth or whatever, pull off the white top of it, and then inside you'll see that there's a little blue funnel bit, and there's a little bit of plastic that's still kind of blocking the hole a bit. So you get a knife, pop those out, and you attach that lid to any bottle and just cut the bottom off.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's your funnel. So you've got like the big bottle, fill it up with beer. Don't drink it as it's being filled, obviously, you moron. Have you never done this before? And then just use that. You don't need the hose or anything like that. And so I'd watch people doing funnels where it would be one guy's holding the funnel and the beer, another guy's holding the funnel and the hose, and then another guy's holding the hose, and then the guy at the end is holding the hose to drink from.
That's pathetic.
It was
I used to do myself.
4 or 5 people involved, and they do one can at a time. And I was just like, mate. And in my bag, I had this, little funnel that I made. Just pull it out while no one's watching. Fill it full of 2 beers by myself. Scoosh, gone.
Well, going back to your King Cup stories, I wanted this beer bong because we were going on this boozy sort of trip the next day, right? So they said to me, look, mate, yeah, you can have our beer bong, because I'd forgot to go and buy this stuff for it. You can have this, but you got to scull a hell of a bong through it. And I was like, say no, but don't threaten me with a good time, son. It's free piss. I'm taking it, Yeah.
Why does this sound like a challenge when I'm so into this?
I've always adopted a cheap student mentality towards drinking, except when I'm being very flush and I will treat myself. But so in this case, I said, yeah, go for it. They just started putting the beers in it, he's holding it like, yeah, whatever, fill it up. I don't care. I'm good at this game.
Yeah.
And then, okay, cool, go. And I'm doing it. And they're like, oh, like, you're cleaning that out real quick. Okay. And this dude walks up with a bottle of wine, just start jamming the bottle of wine on the top of it. I'm like,
Oh, God.
I got it, right? So I did this. Pretty happy to say I impressed a few people doing that. And then my flatmate says, you're not bringing that. Throws out the window of the car on the way home. I was like, you're dead to me. You nasty little hobbit. This is why women don't like you.
Okay, so on that, I used to go up north every year. We had a batch up about 30 minutes east of Whangarei, a beautiful little spot up there. So we spent a lot of time on the beaches, bonfires, playing guitar, stuff like this. It was pretty tricky to get booze out there. And if you don't drive, then it was even harder. So whatever alcohol was up there was your go. Like, I would drink booze up there happy days that I would not even sniff when I was in Auckland because it's just rotten. But I had a tactic, right? Broke as, no money, no booze, but I want to go out and get on it with everyone around the town and on the bonfires and things. I'd take that little funnel that I told you about and I'd put it in a little bag, and it was the only thing in the bag, and then I'd take my guitar. Now, this worked in 2 steps, right?
I see where this is going.
One of the things I do is I go to a bonfire and I meet all these new people. Now, girls are more likely, or were more likely then, to be like, oh, wow, a guitar, sing us a song, random strange guy. Then I'd put on a little bit of I'm a bit shy.
I can only imagine you're very Donovan Frankenwriter-esque at this point.
Well, I go like, oh, I'll play a song, but, I don't really sing. I only really sing when I've been drinking. And then they were like, oh, what are you drinking? And I'm not drinking anything. Oh, well, have one of mine. And so then the girls would ply me with alcohol to get me singing. So I'd pay for my drinks. I'd sing a few songs and all that.
You're busking. It's essentially a form of busking,
It was busking.
Party busking.
And if I do well, they give me another drink, and then they share and they feel good at that. Everyone's having a happy time. Nobody feels like I'm trying to pinch off them or anything.
Tell me you had an upside-down bloody top hat on the ground and people just come up and put stubbies in it for you.
Oh, man, that would have been a good idea. That would have been carrying too many things. I've already got a guitar.
You just wear the hat when you're not doing that. Look like Slash, man, a Slash hat, you know.
So that covers 50% of the crowd, right?
Yeah.
You got the ladies are going, play us a song, I'll give you alcohol to do it. Now, the lads don't really want necessarily for me to be singing because the girls are enjoying it, etc.
And it's taken the attention off them.
It takes the attention away a bit.
Yeah.
So the boys, that's what the funnel's for. So I'd see some lads with some boxes of beer and I go, oh, do you want to funnel one of those? And then I pull out the funnel and they look at it because it doesn't have the hose and it doesn't think, oh, how does that work as a funnel? Like,
try it out, bro.
Apparently it's very confusing for people up north, yeah.
Show you.
And I go, oh, I'd show you, but I don't have any beer. Oh, well, here you go, mate, and gives me a free beer.
Yeah.
So now this is the next step of the funnel trick, right? Is you fill it up nice and full without drinking any, make it real obvious so all the lads can see, right, how it's working and that it's all filled. And then you give them a thumbs up and then just knock it as fast as you can. Just take it all as fast as you can and then go, whoa, see, easy. And usually, about 80% of the time, they would go like, whoa, what? Nah, go on, do that again. And give you another beer. And then that's it. So you let them use the funnel. And then they start giving you beers because you don't have beers. And then the girls are giving me beers because they want me to play on the guitar. So the guitar and the funnel would get me a free night of joyous rebellion and drinking, which is bloody good.
That is delightful, sir.
That's some good times.
I'm just pulling up a picture. Have you ever seen a knockout beer bong?
A knockout beer?
So that's it there, bro. So what we're looking at here, it's a 90-degree fitting with a hose out the back of it, okay? So you were to sit your beer bottle on the table and you stick this on it, it comes up and say to the left at 90 degrees, and it also comes up and right. Now, the one that goes right is a smaller one just for air.
It's just like a little straw coming out of it.
Yeah, it is. It's essentially a universal straw peter.
Oh, wow.
Click it on.
It's an attachment that you stick onto your bottle. So it goes into the drink. And it's got its own little ear bit.
And you just torpedo anything you want.
And you just flip it upside down.
It's like a kind of classy way of doing it, man. It's pretty cool.
You can get this effect with a straw, though.
Yeah. But the fun thing with that is if you get the right one, I think people also smoke the electric poo-ha through it at the same time. And they do what's called a knockout.
It does kind of look like a bit of a bong.
You like rip it a bit, and then I think you must drink the beer and then blow the smoke out.
Oh.
Something like that. Like I saw a video of a few of the boys doing it over in Aussie.
That is weird. I mean, it's
a good concept.
What a hard thing to explain to the theatre of the mind and the ears.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
A soundless movie on radio.
Admittedly, yeah, you can do this with a straw. So you put a straw in the bottle and then fold it in half and then drink out of the bottle normally. The straw allows air into the bottle so it doesn't do the gloob, 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 and this lets it
Same concept, the old red petrol jerry cans, and they've got the bit where it opens where the petrol comes out, and then the second one where you open it like a valve, it lets a bit of air go through and it comes out a lot smoother.
I've just spotted another picture here. That looks like an amazing funnel.
It's the skeleton one.
It's a skull, right? That's the top of the skull is missing, so you can fill that part up. And then the hose is a spine. That's like out of a Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero fatality.
It really is. That's the spinal tap fatality turned into a beer bong.
Halloween, what's going on?
Dude, if I knew that was there, I would have got it for your birthday for you.
There's a brilliant segue. What are you doing for Halloween?
I'm probably going to paint onions as though they're like toffee apples and give them to kids.
You bastard.
Technically, I am a bastard. I was born out of wedlock.
Do you put like toffee on it though, at least? So that they're like, yeah, well, I just licked mine.
I haven't got to that
Still
point
got
yet.
the candy out of it.
Let's get some red spray paint.
Oh my
It's
God.
even worse.
Red spray, you bastard.
Or
you're not dressing up. You're not going to a party. You're not doing any of that stuff.
Oh, no, I would love to. I just haven't planned anything.
What would you do if you had to dress up for Halloween? What could you dress up as at the moment?
That's an incredible question.
Not what would you, then you've got like all the imagination of the world. What could you? What do you have that you could make a costume out of?
Well, I could go as a ghost. You know, the old sheet over the head.
Oh, yeah.
But that can also be misconstrued as a KKK thing, so you got to watch that.
You don't want the pointy end.
Yeah.
Well, you don't,
make sure you put it on correctly.
You don't want to say like, oh, I accidentally made a poncho out of the sheet, and now, I'll fix it. I'll just get one of the pillowcases and make a hood for.
I used to go to a lot of dress-up parties over in Oz. I had like full on. It was like $70. It was like a full-on rubber Donald Trump mask, and it was bloody good. And it was at the whole time when he first got in, he's like, build a wall, build a wall.
There was a few of those going around.
So I drew a mad mustache on it, and we called him Senor Trump.
Oh, yes.
And then I cut in the mouth.
You gave him the handlebar moustache.
I did, yeah. And I actually wore that to the rugby 10s in Brisbane a few years back.
I'm tempted to do that in November for Movember.
I had a poncho, sombrero, and Senor Trump on.
Senora Trump.
Bro, I'm walking into this rugby game. Me and a few of the boys, like, we've already been on it, and we're going in there. And I'm just getting across the road. There's a party across the road, and these guys are up on a fence. Build a wall. And I just start chanting with them. Build a wall.
You should have gone, Arriba! It sounded like firing guns up. So I got one of my mates who does dress-up parties for things, which is brilliant. Him and his wife do dress-up parties. They're very, very good at parties, I've got to say. They will always put on a spread. They get a whole lot of people in. We have a jam. We get instruments out.
Put on a spread. What kind of sex parties are these?
You know the kinds, the ones with meat.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that you can do. Everyone has a good time.
I love dressing up.
And
it adds that extra dimension to it, bro.
Yeah.
And it makes the night so much more
Well,
fun.
sometimes he's just had birthday parties where he's like, dress up, come as a game character. So I came as Ezio Auditore da Firenze from Assassin's Creed 2.
Except his white cousin.
Yeah, and another one of the bros turned up as Altair ibn La'ahad from the first Assassin's Creed. And we were like, oh, how?
Oh, snap, son.
We've kind of poked and prodded them and said, what happened to all your dress-up parties? Like COVID's put a big slam on everything. So they were like,
actually,
this Halloween they're going to have another dress-up party. And so I've had to do the, what can I dress up as versus what would I dress up as?
COVID is perfect time for dress-up parties.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, so what I'm going to do, I can only use what I got around the home. And to be honest, I got a fair bits and bobs.
I could do a real piss-poor Bane if I put my COVID mask on.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like,
get some straws and make them into a Bane thing.
Are you Batman? Batman? No. Duffman. Yes. Duffman. We could be friends.
I was born to
I will not kill you, Duffman, until you down a hole.
I have a friend, a cosplayer, Chesh Little, and she did an amazing Bane. Like, she did the whole mask, she did all the gear, like, it was very good. What I'm going to do is I've got a black leather Plague Doctor mask. You seen a Plague Doctor mask? It's got
with
a
the big beak
kind of thing, yeah.
Fresh out of Assassin's
Creed. So they used to, I think it was in Italy during the Renaissance. It was during the plague.
It was to keep the doctors safe.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah. It was like one of the first type of medical masks.
Yeah.
And so what they do is in the beak, they would stuff all these herbs and stuff that they thought would kill the bacteria. And so you'd see a lot of them wandering around and dealing with the plague.
Isn't some of them
They've
just
got
put
like
a bit of ganja in there?
Big round goggly eyes on them.
They do.
I've got a proper black leather Plague Doctor mask.
They're almost, some of them are almost like kind of steampunk-esque as well. With the
they
big
are
googly
really,
things,
really steampunk. I do have a big cape with a hood, but I don't think I'll do it this year. I think I'll just go like a black hoodie with my black Plague Doctor mask. Maybe I got a t-shirt that has a crow on it or a raven on it. So I might wear that and just go full black and then black mask and go as the COVID Corvid. Because, the Corvid of ravens.
I love that, man. How long did that take you to think of? This is weeks of planning on the toilet.
Actually, what it is I was like, I could wear the Assassin's Creed outfit again. Nah, that's kind of been overused. But you got to get your money's worth when you spend that much on a costume. And then the other one was like, I've got a ghost pirate costume somewhere. Can I be bothered to figure that one out? But the thing is, you got to have a full costume. If you go a certain length into something, for instance, if I was going to wear a cape with a hood with the mask, then I'd probably have to have a nice shirt and a vest and then like a little pocket watch and with a chain. You want to do it all. You don't want to just be a cape and a hoodie underneath it or a t-shirt or like something weird like that. Like you put on two items and now it's a costume. You
either go hard or you don't do it.
Yeah. And so I was like, I can't be bothered going too hard into the costume area. But with the mask and with a bit of theme around it, I can dress reasonably normally and still get away with being in costume.
You know what I could do? I could print out a Nicolas Cage picture on my printer and just cut the eyes and stuff out and just put that on my head.
That actually is quite efficient and quite effective.
Because I've got a printer and a load of ink.
And people love seeing Nicolas Cage face.
Nicolas Cage!
Oh, Con Air was one of the best movies ever.
I could go as crazy one from April, Tom Cruise. Just go and jump on shit all the time. Ah! My friend's 30th in Brisbane.
How did that tiny man even get up on that giant couch?
I don't know.
Somebody must have given him a hand in the ad break.
Come on, buddy. Come on,
ready for your jumping bit? Yay!
Yay!
Lift me!
My friend's 30th over in Brizzy, and it was at Easter. So his theme was like, all right, bad Easter. Anything related to Easter, bloody rabbits, bloody eggs, Jeebus, priest, whatever. We actually all went as priests. 3 or 4 of us went as priests, bro. My forehead like the Flanders mustache. I got some old shitty glasses and popped the lenses out of them, just wore those. It was cool, man. And so
it was a good look.
We had a toilet stop, of course, and sometimes at these parties things go on in the
just
toilets.
Blessing urinals.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Doing little crosses.
So we come out looking
peeing crosses,
looking wide awake, and these people would look. what in the fuck name are these priests doing? Like, I'm right. Ah!
Bless
Praise
you,
the Lord. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
Bless you, my child.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Bless you.
1,000 Hail Marys.
I've holy water in the urinal. Now I'm holy water on your leg.
That is trouble. Honestly, that's one of the things, though. If you go to town around any form of dress-up time and you see people dressed very similarly or dressed up the same, it's trouble.
Yeah.
It is, honestly. There's never a time where you're like, oh, okay, well, that guy's Santa Claus, that guy's a priest, that guy's dressed as a ghost, that guy's dressed as a pumpkin. You don't look at that group and go, oh, here's trouble. You're like, oh, a group of people dressed up.
Fun.
But you get a group of people dressed as priests, trouble. You get a group of people dressed as Santas, it's been on the news, trouble.
Like, do you remember a few years ago, they had the that clown sort of epidemic in the States? People just dressing up as clowns chasing people?
Yeah.
I would have punched on them in the face.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty scary, eh?
I think 1 or 2 probably got dropped.
It's not
'cause
really...
people caught on, they're like, that's just a dude. All right. Like, I can run for my life and potentially spill my coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to stand my ground and see what happens.
Well, man,
you walking slow, what are you going to do?
Real dangerous trying that stuff.
I'll come and stomp on those big shoes.
There was a guy who did videos where he pretended to be a zombie.
Oh, yeah.
And he did it in the hood in the States. And so he'd scare the hell out of people. And then I think 2 occasions it got quite risky for him where they ran it first, like, oh, crap, a zombie. And then they just went, nah, boys, let's stand our ground and get rid of this for the neighborhood. And all just kind of came back and started picking up weapons. And the guy had to be like, oh, no, and then run.
Yeah.
And then another one, he didn't even know how close he was to being killed. He noticed in the footage later that the guy had run off from him and then gone around a corner and then just taken a step back, pulled a gun out of his pants and like aimed him up and then just went like, oh, nah, and then left. So he could have been like, I know what to do with zombies. I'm going to put one in his head.
Oh, dude.
But I tell you what, like when people dress up and do crazy crap, and again, it's on that when they dress as a group. Do you remember a few years back, the guys dressed up as the Foursquare guy? And it was a group of them dressed up like a Foursquare guy. And then I think 2 of them assaulted a girl on a train. They jumped off, you know, where the Morningside train station is, the one after that, if you're going out west. It's on your route.
Yeah, Baldwin Ave.
Baldwin Ave.
I think.
So they jumped off there to try and, you know, like, and then disappear into the night with their Foursquare guy masks on. And they got pinged and pulled up for it months later. Basically, it was like a 15-year-old girl. They went up and the friend who was with her was a boy and they started hassling him for being too flamboyant and girly-ish. And just hassled him and kind of assaulted him a bit and then kind of started getting handsy with her. And these are like 30-year-old men type of stuff dressed up. That's the thing. They dressed up together. They got pissed. They went to town. I saw them. I saw them before they got on the train.
You saw them?
I saw them before they got on the train as they were walking to the train station. I was there in Britomart. I was walking past them and they all went past to go to the train. And one of them was so pissed, he just started hitting on this chick in the middle of the street, right next to her partner, who's with her. And she was like, obviously very uncomfortable. He was way too close. The guy was like, hey man, what the hell? Like, you know, cut it out. And then the guy started like trying to stand over this guy. The girl's like, what the hell? Now you're threatening my boyfriend. You're hitting on me inappropriately. Now you're threatening my... He was just so drunk that he was like, I can do whatever I want. One of his mates had to come over and go, haha, don't worry about him. And I was standing right there about to be like, hey, bro, off.
Yeah. This is getting beyond a promotion.
You're gonna get community beat is what's gonna happen in a second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't want community beat because
we need
that's
more
real.
community. We need more community beats. Like, I don't know you, and I don't know you, and I don't know you, but we all feel that guy is way out of line. Let's all just jump in and with a split second beat his ass.
Damn right, he dropped a V bottle on the ground.
Ain't nobody gonna try that crap no more.
Litterers, bro. Community based litterers.
Maybe not that far, but you know, like nobody's
not
gonna,
badly. Just kick him in the shin a couple of times.
Weird concept of that. I can get away with this in front of all these people. As humans, we have this mentality of walking by. In the States, they'll have dead people on the street and they just step over them. You should be going as a community, seeing something, look around, see you've got other people's eye contact, and then just go, boom, we're doing something about this. Where's that team of 5 million now? 5 million versus 1, mother.
That's intense seeing those Foursquare dudes.
Yeah. And then to know that they
read
went
the article or whatever.
went on to get on the train and do that.
Oh, absolute grubby, man.
On a train too, to 15-year-olds. That's what I mean. When I see a group of dudes dressed the same, I go, oh, crap.
You know what that is? It's not stereotypical of you. It's the once bitten, twice shy rule. I mean, that's how it works with gang members and shit. You've had one hassle you, you think they're all going to hassle you.
Oh, yeah.
I
know, I have the same mentality when I see a hens do. They're all dressed up pretty similarly, and I go, oh.
Do you know who's in danger at a hens do?
police.
No, male strippers, man.
Yes.
They
Oh,
will get
I was
scratched
talking to you
and
about this.
beaten, and these ladies just take out any.
They do.
I don't know whether it's because they don't get to express themselves normally, like in a normal manner sometimes, and all this builds up, and then they're just like, ah!
Well, they think this is my night. I get to grab and do whatever I please.
I'm gonna molest you, son.
Massive double standards there. In fact, the police have said one of the most dangerous groups in town is Hen's Night, and because they come up to the cops and try and get cops to strip, and they steal their hats, and they like just having such a good time. But yeah, I told you about a story where a male stripper was called into a hotel room. And the guy who was kind of his guardian or bouncer, I suppose, or yeah, I don't know if he was a pimp, definitely paid to protect, but he doesn't go in. He waits outside. The door opens, the stripper comes sprinting out of the room. His G-string's been ripped in half. He's trying to cling to it on his junk so that he's got something while he's trying to get away from it. He's got scratches down his back and all this. And that guy says he saw that a lot for male strippers. So Hen's Nights were brutal. Now you think about that in comparison. You've been to a strip club. I've been to a strip club. I've
been to parties where they bring private strippers out.
Yep, I've been there too. And it's the boys, they stand back.
Utmost respect, bro.
They stand back with a beer and they go, good on you, love. Oh, you're real pretty. You're a really good dancer.
Hey, do you reckon you can hit this with a dart?
yeah. Now, I'm not saying that we're all good. Obviously, there have been some issues with strippers and stuff like that. But in comparison, in hearing the stories from male strippers, is the woman will not stand back. They think they've paid for you and they have a right to your body. And they will grab testicles and squeeze the life out of them. They will just grab your bits and pull and yank and scratch and like far out. It is terrifying. I'm not doing that for a job.
I would like to interview one of those dudes who's been through that, just getting to run some stories down. That would be great content, eh?
That would be scary, though. And to be honest, I had a time at a bar once where a woman grabbed my junk and then laughed it off. And I said, you've just sexually assaulted me in public. And she's like, whatever. No, I didn't, because you're a guy. That's not how it works. A human being to a human being, you don't do this.
You don't grab my junk unless I say, uh-huh.
I think the only difference here is that as a man who's larger physically than her, I had no fear that she was going to like hold me against the wall and continue this. I felt extremely offended and violated. I didn't have this fear that I need to get out of here. It's going to get really dangerous, which I think
it was more of a irritants like, don't.
Yeah, a lot of women have to deal with that, which is terrifying. This is her response. I said, you can't do that to people. I'll get you kicked out. I'm going to have a chat to the bouncer. She goes, go on, tell the bouncer. I'll tell him that you did it to me. And then we'll see who he believes.
What
and I was like,
B word she is.
Like, I know that that's kind of our reality, that they will take the lady's side on things. And to be fair, more often than not, the lady is right. It's a safer way of saying, yes, I'm going to take your word for this.
So there's a bias already.
There is a bias, but I think that bias is somewhat necessary.
It's genuine, right?
But you don't, for one, you want to talk about mana wahine and support ladies as well as you being a lady, then don't pretend to be the victim because you belittle victims. You're crying wolf for all womankind. And then the woman who does need to be heard and has gone through something awful, they'll just think it's someone like you who assaulted somebody and thought you could get away with it. So she says that to me, like, I'll just tell the bouncer that you did it to me, and then we'll see who believes.
Yeah.
And I went, you're just a real piece of work. This woman has a small son, so to think that her son's going to grow up and she's going to think that that's okay for a woman to do that to her own son.
Yeah.
But I said, you're talking to the wrong
guy. Way
guy.
out of line.
You're talking to the wrong guy, and you're talking to me all wrong. And I went, watch this then. And I go straight up to the bouncer, and I go, hey, mate, this is the situation. She did this. I told her I'd talk to you. She said, I'll go tell him that you did it to me, and then laughed at me. She was just sitting there like, what? And the guy's like, you rat. And like looks at her like, you rat, how dare you, you know?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, yeah, it is the get out.
Yes.
And then I went down the back of the bar, right? And I tell my tale to another guy down there, and he says, no, that's not right. She shouldn't have got kicked out. You're making this bigger than it was. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's not sexual assault because you're a guy. So there are guys who think that too.
That's like saying it's not racist because you're not white. But people have these odd mentalities.
Yeah, that's very weird. But the thing is, like, just because I'm a guy doesn't mean you get to grab my junk for free. That seems to be what his argument is. Is like, no, it's not the same because you're a guy. You haven't been sexually assaulted. You're a guy. Your genitalia is free to all.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Just because I've got a willy means that somebody can give it a tug and have a play with it whenever they feel like. Well, I sit there going, I feel really awkward and uncomfortable and want to go home now. Oh, not too bad. You're going to stay here while I fiddle around with your stuff. I don't think so, mate. And I got a ref in on that conversation with that guy.
Oh, you
and
told
another
me
guy,
about this,
another guy
yes.
came in and refed it for me because he was like, "This is getting over the top." And I went, "I'll just call it ref. Who won?" And he goes, "Oh, you for sure." Like that is just nobody should be doing that.
This guy.
No human should do that to any other human. Full stop.
I know he's a friend of mine, and he had a bit of a rough time with a missus, right?
Yeah.
And this is back to the whole equality thing. She would knock him around a bit, she'd get frustrated, anger rise to the surface, and she gets physical and emotionally nasty as well. For him, she's knocking him around, and he's like, stop this shit. And she goes, if you try and leave, I will ring the cops and tell them you've beaten me up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I will blatantly lie about it. I said to
just...
him, "Oh, dude, all you can do is just have your voice recorder on. Get that."
Oh yeah, it's a very good point actually. Because when I was working at Vodafone doing tech support, I spoke to a guy once who told me a story about his mate. He's from a small town down south. Now his mate is a big guy. Apparently he's just the kind of big friendly giant type. He's always helpful, but he's really big. It's quite scary.
BFG.
Yeah, but also scary. BFSG. Big, friendly, scary giant. That's all on his looks. He's a lovely guy apparently, but he's a big, scary looking guy. The thing is, he is ostracized in town because his partner goes around telling people that he beats her. And so everyone's kind of like, oh, this guy is just trash. He's an evil bastard. Yeah. So nobody talks to him in town. He's got this mate who I'm talking to on the phone. And he's all like, I've known him for ages, so I've had a hard time believing that he does it. But she cries, and she goes to the pub and cries and talks to the locals about it and stuff like that.
Oh, Jesus, man.
And so one day he goes around, and his mate says, hey, mate, doesn't have a lot of mates. And he says, hey, mate, this is the big friendly giant. Yeah, I'll put on a voice. Hey, mate, you want to come round and maybe help me out with the car like you said you would? Yeah, he's American. No, he's not. So his bro goes around, who I'm talking to on the phone. He goes around to help out on the car. Yep. He's in the backyard, tinkering away in the car. His mate goes inside for a bit. Then he hears the girlfriend come home. But she comes home and starts screaming at him. The guy who I'm on the phone with is outside. He hears this commotion happening inside. And it's like, oh my God, like that's just going off. And he's thinking of all these stories about how the guy's been beating her and, it's going around town and they were talking about it. So he goes and has a look through the window. There's crashing and stuff like this going on. And she is just letting him have it. She is throwing cast iron pans at him across the room. She's throwing anything she's got, sharp objects, everything. They're bouncing off walls. They're bouncing off him. And he's just standing there with shoulders slumped, head down, and taking it because there's no way out for him. He can't fight back because then he makes what she says true.
He fulfills the prophecy.
He fulfills the prophecy. He can't tell anyone because they don't believe him. They think that he's doing it to her. And so his mates watching through the window and seeing the reality that this woman is abusing him mentally and physically and then lying about him around town saying that it's the vice versa. And he just goes, nah, and walks into the kitchen where she's doing it. And she spots him. And how do you think she reacted?
Just jumps into fear like, oh my God, stop.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sit down, lady. I saw everything.
She immediately starts crying. Yeah. Instantly. She spots him and goes, oh, thank God you're here. Oh my God, he was going to hit me again. And he just goes, nah, I've been watching through that window, that you rat liar. And immediately as soon as she said it, you can imagine, it all just dries up. And her face, have you seen that movie where the evil person gets, I know you're evil, I've got proof. And instead a dirty little smile comes on as they go, yeah, but what are you going to do about it?
Oh, yeah.
And she did that. So the tears almost like went back into her eyes.
Back into the
into the ducts. She looked at him and went, well, it doesn't matter. No one's going to bloody believe you anyway. He told me this whole story while I was fixing his motor. And I was just like, oh my God. Problem is, that's not how karma works. This is one of the things that we get karma mixed up with. We think it comes around in the same lifetime.
Oh, right.
You build up a certain amount of mana throughout life.
Or maybe she'll come back
as your next life is better.
Maybe she'll come back as a rooster in a cockfighting circle. Enjoy that. Oh, you want to cry? You're going to. Yeah.
She comes back as the rat.
That a big angry rooster. He's going to rip you to shreds and make love to you. I mean, or both.
How awful though, Like that you can put another human being in that situation that they have to live out a life where everyone has this misinformation about them and
it's redonkulous,
looks
man.
down on them.
My friend, similar in his position.
Awful.
What do you do at that point, you know?
I think you record it. I think you go...
Yeah, that's all you can do.
I think you go behind their back and you go to the police and you say, can you give me some advice? What can I do here? You might not necessarily want to place charges right then, but you might want them to just take a record that you've been in to talk to them about it and what they think about you recording it, if you can get some evidence. And I think you build up a case in the background without ever letting them know what you're up to. You certainly don't just knock them clean out. And to be honest, when you're being attacked, it feels very fair to defend yourself. But it's just not going to look like that when the cops turn.
I know, man. And see, that's where equality gets me. I realise it's not all women doing this, but I feel like there is a certain group amongst, or a percentage amongst of the population of women who, they don't want equal rights. They want to get even. They want to get even.
Like the revenge factor.
It is, bro. I reckon
it's not just women. I think it's a lot of oppressed races kind of as well. They say, this is my chance to get back. Like, look at apartheid ending in South Africa.
I'd say it's worse now than it's ever been in that respect too, because they know the whole system's geared to help them. And like you said, that is for a good reason, and absolutely it is. But I mean, what should be done in these anomalies where, hang on, no, she is the evil mastermind here. Yeah. And she's playing people off against each other.
How do you catch them?
Yeah.
Catch them in the act and have proof and evidence and all sorts of stuff.
It's a pity your bro didn't have his camera going and record it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he should have done that, man. Like,
did they have camera phones back then when the
was this a while ago?
Well, I don't know. You know, he was retelling a story to me, and that quite a few years ago when I was working at Voda. But I mean, that's real dark, hey. But yeah, I mean, equality. I've always believed in equality. I don't think anyone should be treated less for what they are. It's bizarre. It's the most warped concept that I've ever had to grow up and struggle with, like, people who do it. The thing is, now that we know that society's kind of been training us to do it subconsciously, it feels a little better, because I know sometimes I'm not always equal with how I react or how I act under certain circumstances. And now that I know that it's there, for one, but also that society has been lumping it on me, I don't feel as guilty about it, but I can also feel much more empowered about changing it. But in saying that as well, equality doesn't really work. The world is not so black and white. It's so very many shades of grey. And that's when I think equity...
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, God, I've never watched those.
Neither have I, and I never will.
But yeah, I think equity is probably a better way to go than equality, because equality is like saying everyone gets the same thing. But there are situations in life on individual bases where some people need a bit more or need a bit less. And that's where equity would cover what the needs are. So that needs are met, not just, we've given you all the same stuff, and if your needs aren't met, too bad, that's equality. It's more like, we've given you what you need. Yeah. And you didn't need this, so you don't get it. Like,
I think that's great. You know,
I think it's a better way of doing it, but none of this is easy. None of it is easy. It's all very, very tricky.
Perfect world, there will be a lot of trial and error that's already taken place, but that hasn't been done.
No,
you know,
we sure haven't, have we? We kind of just stick to our guns and be like, no.
So in regards to discriminating against someone for something they're born as, they can't change. No way. So I'm a bit of a cheeky bugger, to say.
Yeah.
You know, I like stirring people.
I know, it makes it really hard to like let people know that you're not a bastard. I'm just poking fun.
I'm just stirring you.
Yeah, I'm just stirring you.
So, but I love
you reacted very poorly to the last thing I said, and that made me want to give you a worse reaction if I say this.
Hey, if the fish bites, bring the line back in the spot, eh? You got a fish there? All right, let's do it again.
Yeah, reel it in.
But my point being is, you know, even for someone like me, I don't possess much of a filter for what I'm going to say. I think it's okay to give someone a bit of cheek if they've done something stupid. But if it's something they can't help, like the colour of the skin, their gender, or say like a growth they were born with.
You can change your gender.
Well, tomato.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, you're born with something that you're judged.
I feel like it's so unfair because that person doesn't want it either. He or she's just like, I was just have this. I don't want it. And so you shouldn't pick on them for that. But if someone just does something entirely stupid, like looking straight at their phone and walks into a pole, you can be like, idiot.
Yeah. Don't move. That's a really interesting point too, because, you know, I was born a straight white man, and in this world of white privilege, I don't want white privilege. People are like, of course you do, it's brilliant, you get all your white privilege. No, it's got this awful backlash to it that I don't want. And to be honest, like, it might be easier for me to get a job, and I might get paid more than people, but I don't get paid more than people right now, and I don't have a job. I'm a student. You know, all of the things that I could be using my white privilege for, I kind of don't want to because of this awful backlash. You know, I was at a bar the other night. I was having a great conversation with this girl called Amber. And we were chatting along quite platonically.
Platonically?
And I like that because she's a stranger, but there was
platonic for me.
Well, so we weren't flirting with each other.
Oh,
it was just
it was just a good convo.
We had a very, very mutual understanding that though we were both single, we are more closer to friends than we were, into anything else.
So you got friend zoned.
Yeah, and she got friend zoned too. It was beautiful.
Yeah. That's what they all say.
No, I mean, it was really cool though because, we got to have real chats rather than kind of like, hey, what do I do?
Yeah, I get that, man. I think that's a great point because, like, back in my single days, I was like that too. I wasn't a hitting on person. I wouldn't hit on them. I would do far better just having a yarn.
Have a yarn. Listen to what people are
Have
saying
a laugh,
back to
bro.
you.
Oh, I heard this bloody stupid joke there, but hey, listen to this. Honestly, the most successful times I've ever
enjoy
had.
their time, not look forward to enjoying the time.
The most successful times I ever had at like bars with women in that, talking to them like one of the boys.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, whatever. You want another beer?
Yeah.
No, what are you drinking that crap for? Nah, try this straight up.
I mean, I guess it works both ways, to be honest. But anyway, I was having this conversation with her, and she was telling me a story about some dude and stuff. And then during the story, in context, she was saying, like, check your priv, like, check your white privilege, or check your privilege, basically, and had said this quite loud. And I'm like, it's a part of the story. I'm laughing along with it. I know what she's up to. And I'm like, yeah, cool, that's fine. Check your priv. But we're at a bar where somebody overhears her say very loudly to me, so they thought she was saying it to me, but she was telling me a story, said check your priv really loudly, and this person overheard it behind her, and it was this lady, and she almost threw her drink at me. Like full glass and all, not like splash. She went to throw like a tumbler at my head.
I absolutely hate impulsive, stupid decisions. You should always find out first what the problem is.
Yeah, but how's this though? So
why would you just throw
somebody's
a glass?
telling me a story, and she says like, check your priv. And so the other person hears that out of context, turns around, sees a white man like myself, and says, must have been said at him. He must be being an asshole right now. And then kind of went, and then went to go through it, and then went, no, I won't do it. And then I just stopped because I was reading the body language that was coming around at me. And then I looked at the girl and I said, did you read that body language? And it was just over her shoulder and her peripherals. And she goes, yeah.
I hope your friend turned around and said, piss off.
No, she went, yeah, what the hell was that? And I went, well, because you said check your priv, she immediately looked at my skin color and decided that she was going to biff her glass
racism right
at me.
there, son.
Yeah.
That is
and
racism,
she went,
bro.
what? And I'm like, yeah, so all of this privilege that, no
Colorism.
doubt, I mean, I do have white privilege. I'm not saying that I don't have it. There's a massive backlash to that. There's this thing where people look at my skin color and want to throw drinks at me. They want to wait for me outside bars and fight me over things they've misheard. It is absolutely bizarre.
I get that times too.
I just pretend I pretend I don't speak English and I just speak Māori to them at that point. And I go, aroha mai e hoa e kore au moio tō kōrero e kōrero ana i te reo ingarangi.
Ko tōku ingoa.
E pirangi koe ki te kōrero i te reo Māori pai ana tēnā, engari kore au e mōhio o kupu Pākehā ne. And they were like, okay, now I'm lost. Must have been another white guy. Let's go beat them up.
Yeah. No, I get that, bro. It works a little more so for myself even. Because I'm always wearing a t-shirt. Yes, I go to the gym and I have kind of bigger arms.
No, so you're going to get trouble for that too.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I get it all the time.
Guys want to fight the big boys. They're
I had one outside yesterday. I'm just sitting there having a smoke, and this guy walks past. Hey, and I was like, hey, bro. And then he's like, turns back, looks at me like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm just having a smoke, man. I sound like a proper pussy in the story, but it wasn't like that. It was just like, yeah, and he's like, and I was like, have a good day, man. Just because I'm friendly as. And in the end, he was too. But there was a moment where he turned around. And I'm like, oh, I see what's happening here. Like, okay, you're really going to ruin my cigarette for your ego?
That's actually a very strange thing because I'm quite skinny now, but I was working out for a bit. And so I was like kind of getting more definition. And I wasn't getting big arms and stuff like this. But, when you work out, you hold yourself a bit bigger because you can feel
your posture's a little better.
Yeah, you can feel the muscles that you've worked, and so you're more aware of them, and so you stand a bit better, and you feel better, and so you stand taller and all this kind of stuff. You've got a lot more endorphins rolling through your brain. So one guy, immediately, he decides that he will pick on me because of how I'm standing. Basically, I'm having a chat, and he goes, geez, look, you're standing there like you think you're big. And I'm like, what? Like, why is this suddenly about my physique?
Yeah, Are you jealous of my posture? You've got a sore back from bad posture all your life. Could help you with that.
I feel weirdly safer being skinny. I feel safer being skinny because I know people aren't going to give me a go. They're going to look at me in their head and go like, yeah, I could take him. I don't need to prove anything. and then they'll leave me alone. But I've seen big guys at bars, like really lovely big guys, like huge muscles and stuff, and they're really lovely, just having a good time, laughing away, big smiles.
Goes them.
And somebody goes them. Yeah, somebody just goes, you think you're so big. And the guy's like, what's going on? And then they just start swinging. And you're like, what is going on?
They're out to prove a point.
Yeah, well, they just want to say, do you see the size of the guy I took down? I'm a real hard ass.
Yeah,
and you're like, you're just an
dick.
ass.
Yeah.
You're not a hard ass, you're an ass.
I actually watched, he's a Chinese comedian. I can't think of his name.
Saying that if somebody did scrap me when I'm skinny, I'd lose. If I was
no, you wouldn't.
big,
You're savage. Who would you say?
Yeah, I'd choke him out.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Yeah.
Be like, where'd he go? Oh, he's on my back. Ah, get him off.
I am Leo, your backpack.
And I'm like, tap out, friend.
I was actually watching this.
Night, sleepy
I watched this Chinese comedian, but he lives in America.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what the Asian superpower is? He goes, being invisible. Ain't no one looking to go just like see a skinny Asian dude like go and punch him over. People don't do that. You know what I mean?
Well,
and this guy can say that, obviously, because that is his own experience.
Do you remember that time, though, where I had this is decades ago now, that somebody was like, that Asian guy over there's giving me crap. And it was like, what are you going to do? And he goes, oh, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, I don't know, go over there and get your ass kicked by some kung fu. Yeah. He goes like, yeah, that's the problem, eh? I don't know if he's got kung fu.
I straight up met one of them, a Japanese guy who was actually a legit black belt.
Yeah.
But he's just like a mad party animal. His name's Dirk.
It's funny,
his name was Dirk, bro.
Because
he's
there is this thing, like, I'm not going to fight that tiny guy because he might do kung fu.
It's a stupid misconception.
It's really bad. Yeah.
Shot Jackie Chan. Look what you did.
I tell you what,
Bruce Lee. It was Bruce Lee.
If somebody was like, "Oh, don't fight Leo. He might do kung fu," I would be pushing that. I would be like, I'd be spreading those rumors.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Did you hear that time that Leo guy? What Leo guy? I don't. You don't know him. Tell your friend who does know him. He did.
He swept the guy and punched him before he hit the ground.
Yeah, I don't think he did a reverse blade kick and just like axe kick to do. I mean, I didn't realize he was that flexible.
I can do an X kick.
I can't. I'm not that flexible.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in jeans or anything, but you put me in a pair of shorts, I can do it.
I feel like you need to get at least higher than 90 degrees with your legs straight, and I can't do that, so...
Sorry, not an X kick, a hook kick. So it comes up and across and strikes the chin
Oh.
horizontally. So it's sort of, and the combo it was jab, straight, and then I'm sure it's called a hook kick.
That's called Mr. Whippy.
Sure. That's not the scientific word for it. No, maybe it is.
I don't think a hook kick is a scientific term for it either.
Yeah, well, whatever it was.
Science is sitting there like just going...
Jab, straight, and then hook. And you practice this a few times. And when you get it off fast, it's a great little thing.
Yeah.
The dude I was sparring with, he's like, oh, man, like that was pretty good. He's actually like a world-class guy and roundhouse kicked me in the face accidentally. But, but he's like, oh, sorry, man.
I'll tell you what, if your right foot is kicking from left to right, so it comes across like a backhand but with a foot, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But the thing is, when you're fighting somebody and that happens, you see the right foot move, so you naturally think you're going to cop it on your left side of your body.
And then it comes across.
And then it hits you on the right.
And it slaps you like a 1700 pimp.
That's quite sneaky if you've just had like a little jab in front of it. And you're like, jab, whoa, that leg's moved. What?
Ow!
How did it come from that direction? I used a mate of mine when I worked at Sky City. He does wushu long fist.
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds...
It's a mean kung fu. And
it sounds like it looks real cool.
Yeah, and he's very small, little short and Chinese guy.
What about the length of his fist?
Great dude. He doesn't have really long fists. And so I said, having drinks with him, show me some kung fu, show me some wushu long fist. And he goes, no, I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, well, don't actually hit me.
Just show me what it looks like.
Just show me. And he goes, okay, stand there. Now, I'm 180 centimeters. I'm 5'11". I'm like real close to 6 foot that it almost counts that I'm 6 foot, but I'm not. And he is real short. Like he's 5'3" or something like this. And,
really?
Yeah. And he goes, okay, I'll show you a kick. And I'm like, oh, it's called wushu long fist, but you're going to show me a kick. Okay, whatever. And he throws a kick at my ankle. Real quick kick at my ankle.
Terry Bogard style.
Right? Yeah. Like how you chop a tree down with your leg. And he just does it real quick. Doesn't actually hit my ankle. Comes about an inch away from it. I look down as he's kicking, watching the foot. And then it's right next to my face. An inch from my face.
So it's like...
So he went, kick. Ankle face. That fast.
You know who
ankle
does
face.
something like that?
And I was just like, whoa, oh. Like I actually had that weird moment where
Tekken 5 Jinkazama.
Somebody pops a balloon behind your head because you didn't realize it was there. Where you just go like, oh, and then everything goes wonky.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened. I went, he's kicking my, he's kicking my ankle. And then it was my head. What's going on? Oh my God. Then I was extremely excited and started like clapping like a child watching his favourite Teletubby.
Nice.
And it was all like, oh, do it again, do another one. He was like, that's probably enough for now. And I'm like, oh, that was the best thing I've seen in all week.
That's fun.
That was amazing. I will tell stories of this in future podcasts.
Yeah. And look at you now, dropping your end of the deal.
I told him
Well,
I'd
not
do
dropping, delivering, I should say.
it. He said, you better or I'll kick you for real. And I was like, oh, I better do it.
Art, man.
It's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, you could have died
He
that
will
day.
find me.
Yeah.
But also, just the height. Like, he is so short and compared to my height, and to get his foot so cleanly and quickly close to my head. Unbelievable. Maybe I should work on my flexibility.
Bro, yoga's magical for that. I was doing a lot of yoga in the lockdown.
Yeah, yoga's good.
Yeah.
And hard.
It is, mate. It's
not-
ridiculous.
people think that it's because it's slow that it's easy. It is hard.
It is ridiculous to do.
Yeah.
You hold that for a while and you're like, oh my God, will this just end?
Oh, it feels great afterwards,
you
though.
feel-
Like, all
then
that hurt afterwards where you're like, wow. where
You
is
actually work out that I wasn't supposed to hold it that long, just the internet stopped during that stream.
it, it was buffering.
Yeah.
And now I'm locked like this forever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well.
Bloody good. All right, well, thank you for listening. Episode Iwa.
Ewa, that's 9.
That's 9 in Māori, friends. Leo the Lion, Slain in Maine.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That's episode te ko, or 10. And that's it from us. If you want more, we can make more of these. They are not hard to do, and we love doing them. So if you want an 11, a 12, a 13, pay me.